Sausage.
Hello, and welcome. I don't know if I've ever done that for this here show yet. The long hellos, that's been specific to the Pixelated Sausage Show, I think. But this is not the Pixelated Sausage Show. No, this is Attack the Backlog, the podcast where I, Mark Kuznets, tries to make a dent in their backlog one game at a time. This is episode 4 of the Ghost Recon Wildlands edition, which I can happily inform all of y'all is the last episode of this here edition, because I have completed the game and it was okay. So I ended up finding a groove with the game, being that it is very samey, very repetitive, and it just kind of became this very meditative, as I talked about in the last episode, chill, relaxing experience. It made for a perfectly fine, perfectly adequate checklist game where I would just go into the menu, go into the map screen, look at what I still had to complete, and go about doing that. I completed, quote unquote, completed the campaign 100%, getting all of the bits of intel, lore, every weapon part, every weapon that you don't have to purchase in the store, because there is a store where you can purchase weapons with currency you can earn through, I believe, that tier system, but also buy with real money if you want, though I think that store functionality is no more, because when I tried to connect, it would just fail. But the store is still there, and you have limited time deals, so you can get some discounted stuff. And it's a little bit of a bummer, because there's a cool pistol I would like to get. A revolver. Not that it matters, since I don't see myself ever returning to this game, having completed it, doing all the side missions, even when I had no reason to do any of the Rebel side missions anymore, maxing out all of the abilities that they offer me. The vehicle drop-off, the Rebel support, spotting, and the mortar. And there might have been one more that I maybe never used. I also thought the mortar was pretty useless, but calling the guns for hire could be beneficial at times. The spotting and the vehicle drop-off were definitely the best uses of those abilities. And with the vehicle drop-off, I only used it for helicopters, because if I wanted a car, I could just steal one from a civilian. You may say that's not the nice thing to do. You should be a good guy, right? Well, too bad. If I need a car, I'll steal one. But I never need a car, because that's way too slow. I'm not wasting my time in this game driving a car, looking at nothing, just the same shit everywhere. Give me that helicopter so I can fly very quickly, except when you're in more difficult areas that have SAMs all over the place. Surface-to-air missiles, if you don't know what that is. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. I'm not talking about Sam from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Is that what his name is? The character's name? Is it Sam? Because that's not his real name. His real name is, I don't know, Mackie? Anthony Mackie. Yeah, so it's gotta be Sam. Samthony Mackie. Hey! But when there are Sams in areas, they are pretty annoying. You either have to fly very low or hope that you can dodge them, which just seems to be if you're lucky or not. It would have been nice if some or all of the flying vehicles had some kind of flare system or whatever, so that you could divert the missile's attention away from you. Especially annoying in some of the longer supply drop side missions, where you can get a hefty amount of resources by taking a helicopter or plane from the enemy and taking it back to the rebels. But there's not really much new to report. The missions, as I was going through them, all pretty whatever. The Ubisoft / Tom Clancy themed missions around other properties like Ghost Recon. They had one specifically for Ghost Recon, which may have been more akin to classic Ghost Recon games. I was never a big Ghost Recon person. But then also the Splinter Cell, which is more of a Sam Fisher thing, and the Rainbow Six, specifically Siege missions. I did all those and they were fine, I guess, and some of the rewards were nice. The Ghost Recon one, I guess it was, is where you get the camo that makes you invisible, though in use, it doesn't seem to make you all that much harder to see. It just looks cool. It makes you think you're playing Metal Gear Solid, but then enemies still can pretty easily spot you when you are invisible, seemingly, which is a little annoying. I would have liked to have that be an OP thing that broke the game, because that's fun. Give me a way to break the game and I'll have fun messing around with enemies. Let me do that, but it didn't let me do that. And the Sam Fisher one was pretty whatever. As I say whatever lots of times this episode, because it is a very whatever game. It's a very forgettable game. Evident by the final mission being this very anticlimactic whatever. I was like, oh God, let me think of something other than whatever to say. And I couldn't think of anything quick enough, and I didn't want to just leave you in silence. So instead, I left you in a whatever state of mind. But the big bad you're going after, you find out that he's been helping out the government, ratting out his competition in order to get immunity. And there are two endings, because this is a game that needs two endings, and you really want two endings for. You get to play them fairly quickly back to back, though. In one of the endings, spoilers, your boss, who looks like in her picture Robin Wright, but then her in-game model looks like a monster, right? Am I right? I am right. She looks not good. But in one of the endings, she just shoots El Sueno or whatever. God. She shoots him in the back as he's walking away, all high and mighty, after saying, "You know what you're going to have to be now? My chauffeur." And she, in both endings, when she realizes that he has immunity, in the other ending, she just is like, okay, this is what it is. But when she reacts to finding out the news, she just says fuck a bunch of times, and I found that amusing. But it's a game. It's a game that broke more times than I was expecting as I kept playing. It doesn't like you flying too close to the sun, and by that I mean jumping out of a helicopter and waiting until the last second to open your parachute. The game says to that, oh, well, this ground here that you're trying to land on, we're just going to let you go right through it. And then as you keep falling through the geometry and see the world above you getting smaller and smaller as you fall more and more, the game eventually cuts to black and then to the loading screen, where it returns you to the game and says, why don't we try that again? And you say, fine. It hard crashed on me to dashboard once during a mission that was annoying the shit out of me, and happened as I was about to finally finish it. How convenient. Thank you, game. The game is at its worst, specifically playing solo, when you are asked to do some kind of stealthy action, infiltrate some space without getting seen, collect intel without getting seen, do this, without getting seen, then escape without getting seen, so on and so forth, because especially indoors, your AI teammates become very unreliable. The sync shot is a very useful feature, but when you're indoors, you don't know where your AI teammates are going to be because they do not stick to you that well. Maybe they do if you constantly tell them in the radio menu, get back onto me, get back onto me. I don't want to manage them that way. So in those types of missions, I do think it really would benefit you, the player, to be playing with other real life people who are better at taking orders, following orders, or working together. You don't have to be ordering them around, but just working on an equal plane. But it's a game that worked for me eventually, though I would recommend to no one. Even if you're looking for a cooperative game, there has to be plenty of better options for having a good time. It's a game I don't regret playing, but I will not think about ever again in a month's time, I presume. But I'm looking forward to clearing up that space finally, as it was sitting on my hard drive for years and years and years. But that's pretty much it. The difficulty thing is definitely, to me, the difference between solo and cooperative play. I think last time I said it was arcade and then normal. It's arcade then regular. So I think of it as arcade. You playing solo? Just play it on arcade. That's the mode for you. And then if you want the real experience, the quote unquote regular experience, then you can jump up to that and play with some real people. And then I think the other two are advanced and extreme or something along those lines. I wish I had switched over the difficulty to regular before bumping my tier level to the level that requires you to play on regular, to keep advancing it and leveling up and earning the bonus supply, resources, and all that, because it just wasn't viable, really. It wasn't enjoyable. It was more frustrating to play on regular. So what I ended up doing as a stupid cheat to the system was, because you can do this, is that whenever I would go after a supply drop or complete a mission right before the mission was about to end, or right before I was about to tag the supplies, I would just switch over the tier back to on, get that bonus XP, see that bar fill up a little bit more, level it up as I progressed, and then turn the game back down to arcade mode. And that just made it more of that constantly being in the menus as opposed to playing the game where I'm either in the map screen looking at things to do and then tagging them, fast traveling a lot of the times, or using a helicopter when I'm close enough, or doing this tier hack, quote unquote, if you want to call it that, to keep getting XP while not having it on all the time because it kept raising my difficulty. I'm at tier 30 or 29 at this point, which forces you to play in the highest difficulty, and there's no way in hell I'm doing that by myself. There is DLC that I'm not going to play, and that's about that. I will check my notes very quickly to see if there's anything I missed. I have decided that I probably won't do the traditional Attack the Backlog episodes because those take time, and that would prevent me from continuing to play or move on to the next game. And I think with this new format, it doesn't make exactly a whole bunch of sense, though I think maybe I might write a review to keep that part of me fresh and loose, the writing side. But looking at my notes, I don't see anything sticking out just yet. Last page. Yeah, that's it. That's it. What's wild though is that I started this game. I don't remember the first time I put out an episode a month ago, basically, since this is the 4th episode. But I started playing this on 3/11. Never listened to that band, but on March 11th, and then finished it May 3rd. May the 3rd be with you. That's not how it goes, but that's how it goes right now. So it was quite the long play. And now it's on to what is next. But that will do it for this here episode of Attack the Backlog, the final episode of Attack the Backlog, Ghost Recon Wildlands Edition. I hope you enjoyed this workshopping, this beta version of the new and improved maybe Attack the Backlog. And we will continue to make it better, I like to think. With what to play next, I don't know. I'm all over the place. Part of me thinks a little bit of Redfall, maybe. Not a little. Part of me is thinking maybe I'll jump into Redfall. It's been on my mind. I've also I was thinking about checking out A Hat in Time to really play something completely different and have something a bit more light and colorful and pleasant. Or maybe Bioshock. Go to Second Runs. Switch over to Second Runs. Play that in preparation for finally playing Bioshock 2. There are a lot of options out there. I really want to play Prey, but I do feel like I think I want to play Bioshock 2 first. Not that they're the same game or anything, but just I don't know. We're seeing. We're gonna see. The options are not endless, but they are bountiful. So, with all of that said, that will do it for this here episode of Attack the Backlog. Once again, I am Mark Kuznez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoy this here show or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/PXS. By supporting me there at the highest tier, which is only $5 a month, you get access to a monthly Q&A, fancy schmancy Discord channel. That's what they're called, right? Channels, yeah. Fancy schmancy roll. Approved status on the YouTubes, which I think means you can comment freely, whatever you want to say, and no one's gonna stop you. YouTube is not gonna say, hey, I don't know about what you just said here. Let's leave this to them being me, to make sure this is all good. It's always all good when you're an approved status user. Potentially. It could maybe not work that way. But you'll also get random drops. I might do a regular movie type thing. I'm thinking of making tier rankings or stuff like that, more of a regular thing. One of the crazy things I was thinking, which may sound good or bad, depending on who you are, is going through my entire Plex server, just the movies. Because adding TV shows wouldn't be a big deal because there's not that many. But going through my entire Plex server and speaking on every single movie in one giant long episode stream that could be it sounds insane because it is insane. But I was thinking about that and maybe. But on the point of Attack the Backlog also changing up and not having the traditional, more review-like bespoke episodes, that would also open time up, free me up to bring back other things like the anime podcast, because those episodes, the way Attack the Backlog used to be, they take time. Writing the script, recording the audio, editing the audio, putting together the videos in a more fancy, highly edited way, but never to the point really where it stood out as this is something very special that is better than anything else out there. And I think that's where I fall in the, should I put time into that or time into making this in the new format better and bringing back other shows and talking about other topics that I love? I think it makes more sense to do the latter, because if I'm not making the best bespoke content out there, or you know what I mean, edited content out there, is it worth my time when I could put that time towards other things? That's kind of where I've fallen with all of that. I would still like to do some of that stuff, but when it makes sense, when I feel like I'm putting it into making a unique video. So if there was something in Ghost Recon Wildlands, for instance, that I felt very strongly about, this particular aspect of the game really made me go blah, 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 then I make a video just about that and not a game about the whole game, or a video about the whole game. Just some thoughts to end this episode and drag it on. But yeah, all of that, patreon.com/pxs. Your support is always appreciated. And if you don't want to support me that way or can't, whatever, don't worry about it. Your viewership, your listenership is what matters the most, especially if you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy any of this stuff, don't know why you keep on listening or watching any of it. But regardless, I appreciate you taking the time. It means a whole hell of a lot. So if you can just like, subscribe, and all that jazz, share this stuff with people who you think might enjoy it if you've not done that. Yeah. But in addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. But that is really it. That is all. So, as always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoy this here episode, and I hope you have both. I just hope you have a wonderful day whenever you're watching this. But for now, adios, arrivederci, bye bye. It's go time, go daddy. Oh, it's go time, go daddy. It's go time, go daddy.